Okay, so the third part of this lesson, we have the sun, which was the cosmic mind, the ray, which is us, which we are always connected to cosmic mind, but we are still an individual with our own form and function. The volume knob expresses how much of our connection we are in at any given time, all the way from none, all the way to a full embodiment, which is very, very difficult to maintain on any type of a steady basis, unless we are just an exceptional human being who've really learned to control our ego. The level 3 is what I'm going to call the equalizer knob, okay? And I'm going to talk about it in terms of bass and treble. We know, again, on a stereo, old-fashioned stereo, for those of you that are probably too young to know the knobs, but the old-fashioned stereo, you could do a bass and treble adjust. A bass, of course, gave you this big thump, this big vibration that resonated in your body. And we all love bass, right? It has this feel to it. And then the treble, of course, was what highlighted the words. It highlighted the song, the top end of the music. And so we had to find that balance where we wanted to be able to get a good bass feel, but then we also wanted to be able to hear the song and sing along with it. So this is the point of the bass and the treble knob. Now, how does that relate to our relationship in regards to the sun and to the cosmic consciousness? Well, one of the things that was conveyed to me about the sun and the cosmic consciousness is, what is it that takes place when we become connected, right? Because we are here, we're in physical matter. And if we think in terms of this light ray, which is shooting out, which is us, we have been shot out and we are the ray. We are still connected to the sun, which is kind of in this ethereal place. We don't even really know where it is. We're always connected to it, but we can't put our finger on it because information is everywhere. And that became the key aspect, because in the process of receiving this lesson, I said, well, how is it that this information gets to us and what's taking place? Because I wanted to understand exactly what it was that was happening in the psychic process. And I was told this, that energy carries information and information creates the energy. So I want you to think about that one more time. The information creates the energy, and then the energy carries the information. Now, the way I saw this was also like a strand of DNA, and I kept seeing my fingers crossed. So what this tells me is that energy and information come together. You cannot separate one without the other. They are like a strand of DNA. They are bonded together. Okay. Now, again, I'm not going to go to the parapsychological side here. We're not going to examine this. I understand that we can't prove what this energy is. I am giving this to you as it was given to me as a spiritual lesson. I am taking it on faith and I am believing in it because I understand the impact that it's had for me. So you're just going to kind of have to take it on faith and think about it. But energy and information come packed together. So why is this relevant to the bass and treble? So I want you to think of it this way. Energy is the bass and information is the treble. So energy is much like that bass. It has a beat. It has a feel. It resonates within our body. Okay. And then on the treble side of things, this is where the information comes in. This is the melody. This is the song. It is data. It is things that we hear. It is the visual clues. It is the words. This is the information that comes packed. Now, why this is important is because any energy and information come through, let's say, that light ray, right, from our cosmic mind. I want you to think of this bonded together, energy and information shooting through to us. This is how it hits us, right? And so as it hits our physical body, we are going to resonate with either the energy or the information or both. This is how the psychic hit happens. This is also explains why some people, because of their form and function and who they are, resonate more with the energetic side of things, while others, like myself, resonate more with the informational side of things. We often see energy workers and energy healers and people who are very sensitive to the energy say, wow, I don't get a lot of information, but I feel this. I can see the energy. It tears up my body, or I recognize it as waves. And so they are very base sensitive or energy sensitive. Now, the cool thing about this is because the energy and the information are packed together, it's not separate. You're not looking to get the information and then get the energy. It's one signal. It's one strand of DNA wrapped together. Everything you need is there. The problem is your body is simply naturally unpacking the aspect that you resonate with the most. If you are all the way to the base side, you're resonating with the energy aspect that is wrapped in that DNA type of strand. Okay. So I hope that's making sense. If you're all the way on the treble side, you are getting information a lot. You may hear words, like I said, you may get little bits of information, but you may have no sense of the energy that is behind it. Now, each one of these has benefits and drawbacks. I've already talked about all the way on the energy side, you're lacking that information. And then all the way on the informational side, you're lacking the energy impact, and that can cause and create some discernment issues that can come with time. You can develop that. Ideally, you want to be in that middle range, right? So if you think about the terms of you playing a piece of music, you want your bass and your treble to be balanced. You may fall a little bit more to the treble side or a little bit more to the bass side, or maybe you want more bass if you're working one person, and then you want to move over all the way over to treble if you're with another. But you need to be capable of kind of swinging back and forth and recognizing that energy and information come packed together is extremely critical in psychic development. And I want to bring up the fact for those of you that are energy sensitive, doing energy work or energy type of healing, it was made very clear to me in this lesson that when people are using energy to heal, when they are bringing in this cosmic energy and kind of help channeling it into their client or their sitter, 9 times out of 10, they don't need to know what the information is. The information that's necessary for the sitter or the client is wrapped in the energy. The cosmic consciousness, the one mind, knows what information needs to be delivered to the sitter. The fact that the healer is helping direct and bring that forward basically makes them a channel for the healing. They don't need to know what information is packed in it. It's irrelevant. What's relevant is delivering the energy to the recipient. That is because this is a base side of the house type of experience. It is an energy aspect that is being applied to the sitter or the client. It's still loaded with information. The thing is the sitter and the energy healer may not be aware of what that information is, and ultimately it may not really matter in the first place. What matters are the results. So when the sitter or the client gets off the table and has a healing experience, has a reduction in their physical issues that they're going through, or perhaps has an emotional breakthrough, or starts to have some positive experiences in the next couple of days, this energy has been brought to the table, and in it is the information that they need that creates the shift. My girlfriend is very much like this, and this is a part of what she does. So this became a very intimate, personal lesson for she and I. Now, on the flip side, and I'll use myself as an example, are those who fall more over to the treble side, where the information begins to come in. This is a very important aspect as well. When I work with others, it is about the information that I can deliver to them. This information is carried to me through energy, and the type of information that I get has a different energy to it, because remember in the beginning we were told the information creates the energy and the energy carries the information. Now I realize it has a lot of implications, and people may go, well, how does that work? I haven't gotten that lesson yet. I'm just giving it to you how I've got it for so far. But when we think about quality information and quality energy, the higher that we go for that, The cosmic consciousness is going to bring the highest vibration of energy and information that we can possibly bring forward. They come wrapped together. This is why it's incredibly important that in our psychic development, we embrace the spiritual aspect to this as well. We are connecting with the highest, most positive source that we can to bring in quality information and energy. It is extremely important whether we're working on the informational side or whether or not we're working on the energy side. Now, I want to talk again about that balance. If you're an energy worker and that's what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with that. Being aware that there's information that comes packed in that energy may not be a necessary part of when you're working with your sitters or your clients, right? However, for someone like myself who's giving a reading, everyone's expecting information. I have to be highly connected to information. Now, that does not mean that I'm not aware of energy. If a spirit shows up, there is a very different energetic imprint with that than there is when someone's spiritual team is speaking, when I'm getting that information from the individual's energy, which is at a very lower level, right? Or whether or not that information is coming from what I'm going to say, the Akashic field, or it's just general information. Each one of these informational bits has a different resonance to it. It has its own color, its own vibration, its own feel. When you are beginning to develop, whether you're on the energy side first or whether you're on the informational side first, it's going to take time for you to understand your opposing aspect, right? It's going to take time for you to be able to say, okay, I feel the energy, but now I want to start unpacking that energy and saying, what information is in that? And you may get some, but you don't need to go all the way over here. If your form and function is about the energy, channeling that, working with that, and using that, you may not need to unpack all that information and deliver it because it's not your modality. It's not your specialty. Okay. I think there's a balance to both though. And so I'm going to go over here. So let's say in the beginning, you're getting all this information, but there's no energy to it that you're able to discern yet. And that can become very confusing because you don't know where your information is coming from, right? You're making an assumption about where it's coming from based on the fact that it's information and it's valid. You can validate it and it's evidential and you're getting positive feedback for that. This was a part of my growth process, and it took me a long time to understand just because I'm getting information about someone's departed loved one does not mean that I am speaking to that departed loved one. There are a wide range of ways in which you can get information about someone who's departed that doesn't necessarily entail communication. The only way we can discern where this information came from is by unpacking the energy that it's come with, because that energy will be different based on where the information is coming from. It has a different resonance, a different tone, a different feel. And so it's going to take time for those of us that are on the informational side of things to start to feel the energy that is behind the information. And this energy gives us discernment. Now, again, I'm never going to run all the way over here to the energy side of things because it's just not my specialty. And it's very difficult for me to work with just pure energy. I can do it, but it takes some effort. If I was really interested in it, could I develop it? Absolutely. But it isn't something that I really want to focus on at this time. But I am aware that as an informational side, I need to be capable of unpacking the energy that is coming with the information. This is going to allow me to have a more, again, the discerning and a multidimensional awareness to what is taking place. Likewise, for those of you that fall over here to the energetic side, you need to get strictly off the base and you need to learn to bring yourself from time to time whether the treble comes forward or the information comes. Energy is packed with information. You are going to need to learn how to discern what that information is for you. Generally, if you're getting energy, you are probably very clairsentient. There's probably a great deal of feeling that comes with that. Heat, warmth, colors you may be seeing. You may have different sensations in your body. You need to hone in on those sensations, on those feelings, and you need to begin to ask the question, what does this tingling mean? Why is it happening in my knee? These are the parts of the information that are coming with the energy sensation that you're feeling, with the vibration. So there is a balance between information. And so we want to be capable of moving that dial depending on the modality that we're working with, and recognizing the bass is the energy, the treble is the information. Bass and treble come together. Energy and information compact in a single DNA strand, if we can think of it that way, and it hits you. You will resonate with one part of the strand, perhaps more than another. If you're super multifaceted and high functioning at a natural level, you may very well unpack both sides of that quite well. But remember our volume knob. We need to be capable of controlling that connection as well. Just because it hits us and it's spontaneous doesn't mean that we're able to use it or will or put it into an applicable form. It also doesn't make us naturally connected and more spiritual than another. It makes us more vulnerable and open to those experiences and that potential. But whether or not we develop and connect that samadhi to the one mind is really totally up to you. It is the intention to connect for the greater good, getting out of your ego and using the one universal mind. All of this is the spiritual aspect that we need to start embracing in psychic development. It is not a trick. It is not something that we turn on that's really cool and we use to impress our friends. This is about a real deep connection that has very real life-changing implications for people, for yourself and for others, and it deserves that responsibility. If that responsibility is not in place, I will tell you that there's a part of your ego, and that will limit the amount of connection that you have to one mind. So I want to thank you. I realize that this has been a long, but these are the 3 lessons that I learned last week that I want to share with you about psychic development and about understanding them and how they actually work. So thanks for listening. I hope you'll subscribe. Bye-bye.